Hey, what's up everyone? Starting a little early today. Let me know how you're doing, where you're from in the comments. Now, my phone just told me my internet's really slow, so hopefully that's not going to be an issue. Not really much I can do about it right now, especially since we're about 2 minutes from starting. So we're gonna get started in about 2 minutes. In the meantime, just introduce yourself in the comments, in the live stream comments, and let me know where you're watching this from. I already know there's a few people in the UK who are watching this. I know there's definitely some people in the US. I'm just bringing up the live stream now on my own computer. Let me know if things are going smoothly. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Yo, what's up everyone? All right, there I am. So yeah, let me know. Can you hear me? Everything look good? Hey, what's up guys? Bosnia, wow, nice. All right, perfect. Norway, Macedonia, yeah, I love all the places you guys are from. Like, it's amazing that we have so many people represented here. We got France. What else we got? Let's see, Belgium. It's fantastic. All right, guys. So you know how this works by now. For those of you who are new, essentially what we do on these live streams is we answer your questions that you ask me. And you post on Instagram every week. I usually put up a picture with asking you to ask me your questions, and then we'll answer them. So what we're going to do is we're going to answer these questions, and then we will answer your questions in the comments. Sweden, we got two from Sweden. We got Ireland, we got Germany, the North Pole. I don't know if you're telling the truth, but if that's true, holy crap. We got Northampton in England. All right, cool. All right, awesome. All right, sweet. Alright guys, and sorry about not having a live stream last week. I was really unorganized, so I wasn't able to get to it. So let's get right into your Instagram questions. For those of you who are not aware, we will be posting again this week, so make sure you follow on Instagram at SimplySoccer Pro. I will post another picture to ask you what questions you want to ask me. And if you ask your questions on there, you have a chance of having it answered in the live stream. And of course, as always, we will answer your questions in the comments. So let's get to the first question from official_Sahir. What's up, man? I know Sahir. It says, how to cope with unsupportive and jealous teammates that seem to be more against you than with you, and or a biased coach. Basically, the politics in football. So I have like a two-part answer to this question. First and foremost is take a step back and really analyze the situation. Because there were times when I was playing when I was younger, where I thought coaches were against me, I thought teammates were against me, where I later found out they really were not. So that's the first thing, is take a step back. Don't automatically assume the coaches are against you or the players are against you. It's not always the case, especially on the coaches' side. Most coaches I know are good people who really want to help the players that are playing under them. So take a step back first and make sure, it's not just you looking through, having real tunnel vision and wanting it to be that way. Second, if it is that they are biased and they're kind of against you, there really is only one thing to do, and it's just keep your head down and work as hard as you can. Focus on becoming as good as you can in your individual training. When you have team training, if players are, as you say, jealous of you and they're against you, you just have to tune them out and focus on your own growth and your own evolution as a player, because ultimately that's what matters the most to you, or should matter the most to you. You're going to have teammates that are going to be against you, that are jealous of you, maybe, or you'll have teammates who don't put in the work and would rather put down the players that do. And that is 100% going to happen to any of you listening. And the best way to deal with these people is, I know you've heard it a million times before, is simply ignore them. Don't let them feed off of it. Don't let them get to you, because if they get to you, it's just going to, not allow you to get as good as you could possibly get. So that's basically the biggest thing. Now, if it gets really, really bad, you can consider moving teams. But I don't like offering that advice, because I would prefer you stick with the team you're on now, especially if it's a good team. But if, say, a better team comes along that you could join, go do that. But for now, man, I would say, if there really are people against you, the best thing to do, if you have to stay in that situation, is just work as hard as you can, and you got to learn to tune it out, because no matter what team you're on, what league you're in, what level you're at, you'll get the haters, you'll get the people who doubt you, but it really all matters about your belief in yourself, and that you keep persevering and keep going anyway. Okay. Let's see here. All right, so is it better from, oh, look, I put the name out. Joel Lit is, I think that's what it is. Is it better to practice on concrete or poor quality, uneven grass? I mean, the obvious answer, the answer is obvious, I should say, which is concrete. Poor quality, uneven grass isn't exactly ideal. If it's all you have, like if you have a match on poor pitches, that's fine. You got to deal with it. I love playing on concrete or hard surfaces because it's just, the ball moves quickly. It allows for like a true bounce, true touch. You don't have to worry about the ball bobbling around. I used to practice all the time against a wall on a parking lot, so that was concrete. And that really improved my skill, my ball control, and all that. So definitely concrete. If you have the two options, a poor grass pitch or concrete, go for the concrete. It's just going to be much better for you. All right, so let's see here. From Thwan, I think that's not Tuan. I don't know how to pronounce that. I know you've commented a lot, so sorry for butchering your name. 889512 says, can cleats make you better? And he says he knows the answer, but thinks that maybe I know as well. Okay, here's my theory about if cleats actually make you a better player. So first and foremost is the player, you're the same player regardless of what cleats you're wearing. But I think a lot of the thing with cleats is the mental thing. Like, I love having a pair of cleats I'm comfortable with. And there are definitely cleats where I've noticed my performance as being better in one pair over another. Now that might be more mental, but the mental side of things is very important. So if you don't feel confident in a pair of cleats you're wearing, then you should probably change it up. Ultimately, I still think it's down to the player. Like, there is no cleat that's going to make you twice the player you are now. There might be cleats that are more suited for your position or type of player you are, especially in this day and age where there's so many different types of cleats, which made of so many different materials, all designed for a certain purpose. For me, like, I really like vapors. I like mercurial vapor cleats. And over most other cleats, I like how light they are, I like the touch on them, and I also like how I'm able to shoot with them. But I'm sure there isn't too much difference between them and another pair, but it's a mental thing for me. So, I might as well get those and have that like mental comfortability and, be used to them and be fine with them mentally, than get a pair I'm not okay with. So I hope that makes sense. Ultimately, yeah, you're not going to become amazing through the cleats. But if you have some kind of mental thing going and that gives you confidence, definitely, go for that pair of cleats, okay? So, again, confidence is such a huge thing, even in an issue like this. So, playing cleats you're comfortable in, that you're confident in. Pretty simple, straightforward one there. So, from Wavy Whale, what separates players like, okay, this is a good question, actually. What separates players like Ronaldinho when performing tricks on a field from the average player that does tricks and skills? So, I remember you asking something else like, when can you use flashy skills in a match? First and foremost is avoid flashy skills. Do not think, I want to do flashy skills in matches, therefore how can I do it? You don't want to think that way. I don't want you aspiring to do flashy skills. The reason Ronaldinho could do it is because when he did it, it was effective. When he did Elasticos, which isn't that flashy to be fair, but when he pulled off those crazy moves that he pulled off, it's because he could do it effectively. He wasn't doing things and then losing the ball. He was doing things and then beating 3 or 4 players at a time doing them. If you can do that and be effective with those kind of moves, then that's absolutely fine. But that's what separated Ronaldinho from doing it, over a player who couldn't do those things. He practiced them, he was good at them, and he could do them. Play to your strengths. If you can do that, if you can beat a player with a so-called flashy skill, then go for it. But I always I'm always on the side of effective moves over flashy moves every single time. But some of the moves Ronaldinho did, they may have seemed flashy, but they were, like the Elastico is seen as a flashy move, but I've seen it be very effective as well. The sombrero, where you flip it over someone's head when the ball's already in the air, I think is a very useful move when the ball's in the air. So some of these flashy skills are also very useful. But that's why Ronaldinho could do it, because he was just so good at these moves. And for you, I would say stick with the effective moves. Stick with the cuts and the chops and the croys and the step overs, single step overs, not like 20 at a time, because they're effective. And ultimately, you want to be an effective player, not a fancy, luxury, flashy player. Not that Ronaldinho was that. He was a magician, if anything. But that's That's essentially what you want to aim for. Okay, a few more questions on here. Let's go to A Penguin. Ill. I didn't make my school soccer team, but I'm really trying to become a better player. What should I do to let people notice me on the pitch? Okay, first and foremost, it's okay if you don't make your team. I know it sucks if you try out for a team and you don't make it, or something happens which prevents you from playing on it. When this kind of thing happens, you just have to, work harder, and persevere. There isn't one thing that you should do in order to be noticed on the pitch. I've never seen you play, so I see that, Freddie. I can't do that, my friend. There's not like one specific thing you can do. I take a look at the video I did called How to Become a Standout Soccer Player, something like that. That'll give you a better idea of how to identify your strengths and weaknesses and then play to your strengths and work on your weaknesses. But that's what I would do for now. Just, you got to keep working hard. You got to stay consistent. Everybody's path to pro, college, whatever level it is filled with a lot of failures, rejections, and things of this nature, mistakes. The players that end up making it to the high levels, to the college levels, to the professional levels, to the players you watch on TV are the ones that didn't give up at that point and worked even harder after those mistakes. Okay, so speaking of college soccer, Babyana_ says, did you play college soccer? I did. I played college soccer at Alvernia University. You can look that up if you want. Next question, Giuseppe_Garofalo. How do you learn to play faster, quicker? Okay, well, it's a really simple answer, to be fair. You want to play faster and quicker in matches, you have to practice in that manner. I mean, there's a reason you've probably had coaches telling you play or practice at game pace. Practice at game pace, practice at game pace. Because if you practice at game pace, then you'll be able to bring that into your matches. So to play quicker, when you're in your own practices with your team, play quicker in those practices. So when you're doing passing drills, turn quickly and pass the ball off. Do two-touch really quickly. Move into space really quickly, because you will play in the way that you practice. So if you're practicing and just going through the motions, passing it, turning kind of slowly, playing slowly, you're going to do that in the matches. But if you train yourself to play quickly in your practices, you're turning quickly, you're moving quickly, you're energized, you're a bundle of energy, running around, combining with teammates, doing all that, then you will bring that into your matches. And it takes a while, you have to do it consistently in your practices, but that's essentially how you play quicker. You just have to start practicing in that way. Another great way to kind of see what it looks like is watch professional matches, but watch certain players, like midfielders especially, who combine a lot and play quick. One thing I also like to do is I like to watch professional team practices, because they do a lot of passing drills, like 7v7, 6v6 stuff as well, where they play very quickly, and you can kind of pick up on some of their habits. Watch the Man City YouTube channel. It's a great channel. Obviously I'm not a Man City supporter, but they have probably the best YouTube channel on YouTube for football team, at least. And I like watching their practices, seeing what they do, and you can see this in a lot of their training. They do quick touch stuff. They turn, you can see how they play quick, and that'd be one thing to do. Okay. All right, guys, so we have 3 more questions on here. Then I'm going to get to your questions on the chat, and we've got plenty of time, so we're going to get to a lot of your questions. So, Gamal, I'm butchering all your names, guys. Gamaldin Training says, alone versus training in an academy for a student. Okay, so I'm guessing you're saying, is it better to train by yourself or train with an academy as a student? Okay, well, first and foremost, realize this. Individual training and team training is a separate thing. If you're just going to team training, that's not enough if you really want to improve, if you really want to become better. You have to be doing some form of individual training. Now, if you're in an academy, it depends. I know how the academies work here. I'm not exactly sure how they work in other countries. I'm pretty sure it's pretty consistent with you practicing most days. They'll take care of that for you most of the time. So if you can get into an academy, that's definitely ideal. But if you're not in an academy, for all of you who are not in academy teams, it's okay. You can still train on your own. You can still get a lot of practice in. And ultimately, if you want to become a better player, your individual training is going to be really, really important. because while other players are only playing when they're at their team practices, or maybe they're doing a little bit of individual work, you're getting more touches on the ball, you're practicing more areas of your game that you need to work on, and ultimately how much you improve as a player is really going to come down to how much you put into your own individual training. And that goes for most athletes and sports in general. Okay, so next we got from FCB and Rees Messiel something. I'm so bad at these names. So go to the soccer field sometimes and play. Okay, so I go to the soccer field sometimes and play with these people, and they're kind of good, and I don't understand how they get so good. So how can I be more like them? Thank you. I'll be at the live video. So you might be on the live video right now, so that's perfect. Okay, so he's saying that he goes and plays with these people at the field who are really good. You play with them pretty well, but you don't understand how they got so good. So how can I get as good as them? Well, I mean, again, what we were just talking about, individual training is really probably a lot of them are practicing by themselves. They're probably going to that field a lot and playing. The more you play, the better you'll get. And to even take that a step further, the more deliberate training you get in, the better you'll get. Now, a good thing is you're playing with good players, and that's a great thing to do. Always be trying to play with players who are better than you. You always want to strive to do that, because one of two things happens when you do that. One, you get frustrated and give up, or two, you have to raise your game in order to hang with these guys and start, actually performing better than them. So, really double down on your individual training. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not even going to happen within a few weeks or even a few months. But with consistency, with deliberate training, you can get to that point and keep playing with them. Play with them. If they're better than you, play with them as much as you can, because you're not only going to learn things from them, you're going to have to raise your game. And the more you play with them, the more you'll pick up on certain things. The more you'll understand how to beat them at certain things. The more you'll learn when you play with better players. That's why I always recommend that if you're on a club team right now and you're like the superstar and it's too easy for you, to always look for a better team, because you're not going to grow if you're, a big fish in a small pond. You're not going to grow as a player. You want to be playing at a level where at the very least they're at your level, ideally a little better than you, okay? So that's what you want to do. And last question on here, before we answer your questions on there, is from RMJ_08, what is my favorite skill? And someone just asked, what is the best skill to use in the game? So that we'll answer that after this one. So my favorite skill, the one I probably use the most is the Cruyff, but I wouldn't call it my favorite. I also love using the step over, and I use that quite a bit. I don't know. I feel like the roulette or the Maradona is one of my favorite moves. It's such a satisfying move to pull off when you do it. It's really hard to pick a favorite one. I love the Elastico too, when I'm able to pull that off. But I'm going to go with the Maradona, with the roulette. That's one of my favorites. That's been one of my favorites since I was a kid. I've been using it my whole life, and it's just, when you pull it off and it works, and when you get good at it, you can pull it off quite a bit. It's one of the most satisfying moves in my eyes, because it takes really good timing, and it really does leave the defender right in the dust, because you use it when they kind of dive in for a tackle, or they're mistiming a tackle, or they come in too early. So you can really just leave them just right behind you when you use it. So that would be my favorite skill. All right, guys. Oh, also, someone asked, what is the most useful skill to use in a game? And I would say I think the Cruyff is one of the most useful, not just because it's very practical, because most positions can use it. Meaning, you can be a striker and you can find use out of it. You can be a winger, you can be a midfielder, you can be a defender. I've seen goalkeepers use it, although I wouldn't recommend you goalies use it. I wouldn't recommend trying to beat players one-on-one. But it's such a useful move. You can cut back, you can fake a shot, you can fake a cross, you can fake a pass, you can cut back onto your other foot and score. You can use it in every area of the pitch. And when you get good at it, it's just such a useful move. Not a fancy move, not a very flashy move, but one of the most effective. Okay. All right, let's get to your questions. All right, guys, put your questions in there. Put @SimplySoccer. There, Freddie's got it. All right, Freddie asks, what did Messi do to become the best player in the world, and what advice would you give to me? By the way, I'm 12. I have no idea what Messi did to become the best player in the world. I don't know that information. My guess is he played a ton when he was a kid. I do remember watching or listening to an interview by him where he said, the way he played as a kid is exactly the way he played now, which probably really helped him because he developed this style where he's able to beat players so much. And ultimately, and you said you were 12, I think. Just play as much as you can. Get as many touches on the ball as you can. Leave no stone unturned. Really get that individual training in. You're at a good age where you can really develop in the next few years. When players are, go home from school and don't practice, they play video games, they watch TV, get out there and practice. There's so much you can do between now and, whatever age, 18 or so, to develop yourself as a player. Okay, let's see what else. What is the maximum amount of time you want to spend in the gym besides training 4 times a week? This is going to vary per person, how much you spend in the gym. I'm assuming you're talking about strength training. If you've never, I'm no expert at this, by the way, at like strength training, building muscle, anything like that. I mean, you can tell I'm a pretty skinny guy. But I would say, it's going to depend, one, on your age. It's going to depend on how new you are to it. It's going to depend on, how much your body can take right now. Like if you're a seasoned lifter and you're in the gym all the time, you're going to be able to spend more time in there than someone else. I think, that being said though, there is a limit. Like you're not going to be strength training every day. Your body can't take that. Your body needs usually as much rest as exertion. So you need to make sure you're resting as well. If you're not someone who's been in the gym that often, ease into it. Do 1 or 2 days a week. See how it feels. Listen to your body. If you think you can do more, keep that. Increase it a little. And the biggest thing I would say when it comes to lifting or getting in there and doing strength training is follow a system. Don't just wing it. Don't just go in there and start lifting some weights and expect to see results. Follow a system. Either buy a program or look up a program that you can follow that's ideal for you, for the sport you're doing, so football in this case, for whatever it is, your goals you're trying to accomplish, and follow that system. I think the biggest mistake I used to make when I was trying to lift when I was younger, and why I'd always give up when I was a teenager when I was lifting, is I didn't follow any plan. I just kind of went in the gym and would bench for a little bit, and I'd lift some weights, and I'd do some other stuff, and I had no idea what I was doing. But luckily in this day and age, you can get it. You can get a system. You can get a schedule. You can, feel it out. You can see how many times can I curl 15 reps? Am I doing the proper form? There's many ways to do it. So it's going to be very per person. But if you're new to it, first thing, find a system, find a schedule, find a plan that suits you, and then go from there. That's really the first step. So next is. Someone asks, I'm 18 and I can't find any teams. Is there any way to become a professional at this age? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are professionals who didn't go professional until they were in their 20s, probably even later. I knew a guy who didn't even go pro. His first pro contract was at 30. So there's no, certain age. I mean, obviously, if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, I think it's about time to recognize it might be a little too late for that. First and foremost is find a team, any team. You need to be playing. Find an amateur league, find an adult league. Just Google adult leagues, whatever your location is. Get yourself on a team, get used to playing, and then be proactive about it. I made a video on how to find a team a while ago, and then I got a message from a player who literally got on a semi-pro team the very next day, or went to a practice and then made the semi-pro team, because he reached out to a coach and he said, can I come to one of your practices? I'm interested in your team. Can you just let me come to one of your practices and then I can show you what I can do? The coach said yes. Coaches want players. If you hand yourself over on a silver platter, a lot of coaches will say yes. At the professional level, it's a little different, but you have nothing to lose, So if there's an amateur team, a semi-pro team, just, reach out to them and say, can I come out to a practice? You can take a look at me and consider me for your team. There's no real risk for you. There's no risk for them. If you don't make it, you guys part ways. You go, okay, I tried. If you do make it, you now have a team. So that's one way to get on a team in general. Okay, so Evan asks how to become a smarter player. Okay, Yeah, smarter player. So the biggest way I think, besides just playing, like you need to be playing in real matches. You pick up on things when you play in real matches and analyzing your matches. I think those like are two main things. Like when you're playing your matches, and you have a bad game, you have an opportunity to learn so much. You need to be reflecting on that game you had and go, what went wrong? Why did this happen? Why did I have a poor match? And when you do that and you reflect on it and you write it down, you go, oh, I see. Okay, so my touch was so poor in that match. I was not making the right runs. I was not making myself available for the pass. My teammates weren't passing me the ball. Why was it? Oh, I was never open. And then once you identify that, you can start working on it. And you'll get smarter and smarter as this goes along. So analyze all your matches, good or bad. That's one way. And the next best way, I think, is you got to watch a lot of high-level matches. You got to watch Bayern Munich play, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester City and United, Liverpool. Don't watch them anytime soon. They're not doing so well. But you got to watch high-level matches. Watch the Premier League. Watch La Liga. Watch the Bundesliga. Watch the Champions League, especially. I mean, the games in the Champions League, especially this year, have been insane. You don't want to be missing these because you'll learn so much from it. You'll learn from the mistakes of players and the good things they do. And this will, if you analyze the matches, and I go over this a lot, if you analyze the matches that are happening and you ask yourself, why did Dybala do that? Why did Dani Alves do that? Let's stick to not Juventus players. Why did Lewandowski do that? Why did Mueller do that? Why did Diego Costa do that? When you're asking those questions and you're answering them, you'll start learning more of why certain players do certain things, and then you can apply it to your own game. And this is a process. Like, you'll get smarter over time. But one, start playing more. Two, analyze your matches and watch high-level matches. And as a little addition to that, something you can also do, go on YouTube and type in for whatever player you want to study, type in for example, Diego Costa versus, and then look at some matches because you'll find every single touch or involvement he had in a match, and you can analyze that and really ask yourself, why did he do that? Why did he do this? And Diego Costa is a good example because he is a very smart player. Despite a lot of people getting on his back, he makes very intelligent runs and things like that. So start doing that, start studying those players, and start studying yourself. Study yourself. What went wrong? What went well? Stuff like that. Okay, from NAE, how do I stop becoming nervous on the ball? Okay, so I'm not going to get really deep into this because I did make a video on this. It's called How to Calm Your Nerves and Relax in Soccer. Go to that video, watch it as many times as you need to for the ideas to sink in. I think that kind of explains exactly what you need. Nervousness itself, confidence is really the answer. You need to start developing the belief in yourself and the confidence because there's no way around it. If you're nervous on the ball, you're more likely to give it up. You're more likely to make the wrong decision. So go watch that video. Watch it as many times as you need to watch it. Watch similar videos. And then you have to apply the ideas. It's not enough just to watch the video. You have to actually apply what you've learned in the video consistently over a period of time, a long period of time. And that's how you start becoming better. All right. Let's see. Let's see what else we got. Okay, Malik asks, should I join a strong team or a weak team in the league? Strong team, obviously. Well, here's how you have to weigh it. On the strong team, you want to be making sure you're getting game time, but you also want to make sure you're not playing on a team that you're not going to really grow on. So a weak team where you're going to get game time would technically be better than a strong team where you're going to get no minutes whatsoever. However, if you think you can push your way to the starting lineup on the strong team, definitely the strong team. You're going to learn a lot more from that. Getting on the weak team that are not playing well, doesn't have really good players, you're not necessarily going to learn from that. And I know this through experience. I've been on good teams, I've been on bad teams. I've always learned a ton more on the good teams. The team I learned the most on was a club team I was on when I was 16. Every single player was good. We played against really good opposition. And, I wasn't always an automatic starter. I kind of pushed my way into the starting lineup eventually, but I had to work to get there. I had to up my game, up my level. And that's what happens when you're on a stronger side. You either kind of shrink away or you step up, get better, start getting the minutes, and you're playing with good players as well, so you're going to feed off of that as well. I mean, there is the saying, you play better with better players, and I really do think that's true. Okay, Chelsea Pride. Yeah, all right. You're probably gonna win the league. So let's see. A few skills to. Someone asked a few skills to use in a match. Go onto the SimplySoccer homepage. There is a playlist called Soccer Skills or something. Take a look at some of those videos. They'll give you a few different ideas of soccer skills in a match. Let's see how much time we got. All right, let's do a few more questions. Okay, someone says I'm better at defending than playmaking, but I want to be a center mid. So should I train like a center mid, doing passing drills and ball control, or stick to what I'm good at? That's a good one, man. It'll depend. It'll really depend. Maybe you can like compromise and become a center defensive midfield player. But if you really want to become something, you really want to become a center mid, and it's for the right reasons, go for it, man. If you're going to find more joy in that position. I would say if you're already an accomplished center back who's really, really good in that position, and you're looking to play at a high level, college, pro, or something of that nature, you might want to really stay in that position. But ultimately, if you get more enjoyment out of another position, you can go for it. But I would say, depending on your age, like if you're 16, 17, 18, and you're already an accomplished center back, you'll probably want to stick with that. You might be able to get into a center defensive mid position. But again, what you can do is work on both areas. You can work on center mid areas like your passing and all that. And that's okay too, because when you think about it, some of the best center backs in the world are center backs who started out as midfielders. You think of Vincent Kompany. Vincent Kompany used to be a midfield player. He was a midfielder. You want to know why he's so good at passing and bringing the ball out of the back and he's so creative? Because he was, I think, a center mid, maybe a defensive center mid. That's why he's so good at it. He practiced and trained to do that, and then became an amazing center back because of his timing, his positional sense, as well as tackling ability. But that's something that happens a lot too. Players that go in from a midfield to defensive thing as well. So working on your passing, working on your creativity could also serve you at center back if you decide to stay at center back. But ultimately, I can't make the decision for you. It's going to be yours, but definitely you can still work on those areas. Okay. Let's see. I just saw a question I liked. It was one-on-one. How do I almost always score 1v1 versus the keeper? Please answer. Okay. Well, you don't want to almost score every 1v1. You want to score every 1v1. So one thing with 1v1s, and we're going to answer one more question after this, so keep them coming. One thing with 1v1 situations I think the main reason players don't score it is because ultimately, most of the time you should score, right? Because if you have the time and the space, you can go around the keeper, you can chip him, you can just hit it hard and low to a corner. It's a lack of composure, which is a lack of confidence, which usually is nervousness, right? You get in that position and you get nervous, you don't know what you're going to do, and all of that. So first and foremost is think to yourself, whenever you find, and this goes to any goal scoring opportunity, you got to think, I'm going to score. There's no doubt in your mind. You have to think every single time, I'm going to score, right? So when you're 1v1, don't let any doubt creep into your mind. Think that every single time you have a 1v1, you're going to score. Now, you're not going to score every 1v1. If we're talking about a factual thing, you're not going to. But it doesn't serve you to think that. What does serve you is to believe that you're going to score every single time, which will give you more confidence, okay? Another thing is just keep working on your finishing. If you have a friend who's a goalkeeper, practice on him, practice putting it either side, practice going around him, practice a few chips, have a few ways that you can score against a keeper 1v1 so that when you get into that situation, you're way more confident. Because remember, competence will bring about confidence. If you're competent at something, you're skilled at something, you will be more confident. It's like the analogy I give with penalty taking. If you're taking a penalty and you've never taken a penalty kick before, or you've never taken one in a match, or you haven't really practiced them, you're going to step up nervous, right? Because you didn't develop the skill. However, if you've been practicing your penalties, you've been doing it for a while, you've been going to the field and practicing them, putting them in the corner, you will step up much more confident because you have developed the skill. Skill leads to confidence, competence, and confidence, okay? So that's another way to develop it. Okay. All right, let's get one more question in here. Okay, let's see. All right, so CS Skills HD asks, my team may be folding, and whoops, the question just went, may be folding, and the only other team about are an adult team, but I don't think I'm physically ready for it yet. What should I do? I'm 16. I'd say go for it, man. You know, 16, you're physically ready for an adult league. You're fine. I honestly, you know, it's a physical sport, and the sooner you can get used to the physicality of a higher level, the better. Now, the thing about adult leagues is they're not always the most skilled, depending on the league. That's unfair to say, but they usually are very physical. And if you're not a very physical player who doesn't like physicality, that's a great opportunity to get used to it, because if you're 16 and you want to play college, for example, the college game is very physical. It's very physical, it's a lot quicker, and you need to get used to that. So I would say go for it. You know, you really have nothing to lose. You might get a few bruises, you might get knocked about a little bit, but that's only going to toughen you up, and that's only a good thing. You need to get used to this sport isn't just about skills and nice passes and, you know, great goals. There's also a lot of physical elements in it. There's a lot of battling for the ball. There's a lot of 50-50 balls you're going to need to be winning. There's a lot of jostling and pushing and shoving and, you know, all of this. And you need to get used to that, because it's going to happen either way. And if you can get to the next level, so like college, let's say, and you're already used to that, you're going to be more prepared to deal with that when you get to it, okay? So I would say go for it, especially if your team's folding. I mean, you want to be on a team, and that seems like the perfect opportunity, really, because not only can you get on a team now, you can also get used to the physical aspect of the sport. All right, guys, so let me scroll down. Let me scroll down again. All right, guys, I think I'm going to end it there. Where are we at? 5:45. All right, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. Sorry about no live stream last week. We're going to make sure we get these all on Friday. Before I go, let me know, is this time better for you? Is 5 p.m. better than 7 p.m.? Because I know a lot of you are in the UK, so let me know if 5 p.m. is better, and we will do these more at 5 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. because I know, you know, if you're not in the U.S., it's a little late for you, some of you. So just let me know, and I will try and accommodate you on that. Remember, guys, I'll put the picture on Instagram sometime next week so that you can have your questions answered. You know, I can't get to all the questions in the comments, but the majority of questions I'm asked on Instagram, I answer in these live streams. So sometimes I miss out on some, but a lot of the time I answer them. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you joining me live. I hope I was able to answer your questions well. It seems a lot of you are saying 5 p.m. Now someone says 7. But thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, we do these every Friday. It's going to be 5 p.m. or 7. We don't know yet. We'll see what you guys say. Thank you. I'm going to get up and turn the camera off now. So enjoy the Liverpool shirt. And I'll speak to you later after I get out of this. All right. Bye-bye, guys.